Great. So today we'll be looking at question solving on throughput accounting. Question solving on throughput accounting. So let's see. Last week we ended at where they will give you the limiting factor. The limiting factor will be stated in the question. So this time I'm going to pick a question in advance form where the throughput or the limiting factor will not be given to us. We have to find the limiting factor ourselves. So let's see. And please, question 1 is still outstanding. Yes, it was a homework which is supposed to be submitted before today's meeting. If I'm not done that, kindly let me have it. Your answer. And I said each of them need a page. So each of them must be answered on a different page. So each of them, so A, a full page, B, full page in that order. Great. Now question 2, I'll come back to it. Question 3 was a trial. That's your past question. We did question 4. Yes, we did question 4, where the limiting factor was given. Today we are going to do question 5. Here we have to find our own limiting factor. Question 5, where the limiting factor is not given, we have to calculate it by ourselves. Please, this is continuation of what we did last week. So if you have not satisfied yourself fully, kindly satisfy yourself fully for what we did last week. Yes, before you can benefit from this. Great. Now that's question 5. So let's see with the requirements. A, how many units of beta should be produced each week to maximize profits? Okay, anytime they ask you how many units, quantities, production plan, optimum production mix, advise the company on the production mix, on the combination of the unit to be produced. They're just asking you the 5 steps that we learned. That's great. So you're going to use the 5 steps here. So that is it. So let me go to the full section of the question. After manufacture, each meter has to go through 3 processes: assemble, quality control, and packaging. The following information is available for the 3 heaters. So alpha, beta, gamma. Sales price is per unit. All of them are there. Direct material cost. And here in exams, you may be given the breakdown of direct material. So take note of that one too. So direct material is there. Labor cost per unit is also there. Then you see machine time. So it means that if they want to produce a unit of alpha, the assemble time is what? 2 minutes. So the alpha goes through 2 minutes in the assemble department, and then it goes through 3 minutes quality control for testing purposes. Then it takes 4 minutes to package it. Beta 2 takes 3 minutes for assemble, and then 4 minutes for quality control test. Then 5 minutes for packaging. Then the same thing applies to gamma. Now they have given us sales demand. Sales demand 1,000, 1,005, 850. All of them are there. Now, out of these 3 materials or the resources or the factors, one of them may be in limited supply. In the previous question, that's question 4, we were told which of the materials were what in a limited supply. So like here, machine time and labor time, 5 minutes and 2 minutes for all the products. All of them are there. In the notes, we were told that machine time is a bottleneck resource, meaning it's a limiting factor. It is a constraint, and then have the maximum capacity of 400. That's great. But in this question 5, it's not like that. Question 5, they will not tell you. So they've even given you 3 of the factors. So you have to perform calculation to determine which of these 3 factors is in what limited supply. In the exam question, you may be required to do that. Your examiner will not do the calculation for you. Great. Now let's continue the game. So they are saying operating expenses include labor. Now, we said that one of the assumptions of throughput accounting is that labor cost is fixed and must form part of the operating cost or the fixed cost. So under throughput concepts, the fixed cost is the same as what factory cost and is the same as what operating cost. And this cost is nothing but the total cost except what material. So you can also say total cost less what material cost, or all costs except material, or the labor cost plus the other fixed cost. That is it. Great. So that is the concept of throughput. So in examination, check whether the fixed cost or the factory cost or the operating cost that they've given to you, it includes labor. It includes what? If it includes labor, just thank the examiner and then move on. However, if labor cost has not been added, then what do? You calculate the labor cost and then you top it up or you add it to it, then you are done. That is the concept of throughput. So now let's see. Let's continue the game. Now, operating expenses, including labor, are $4,000. So I'm supposed to see this. The maximum hours available for the machines are 150 hours for assembly, 170 hours for quality control, and 250 hours for what? Packaging. So it means that these are the resources that they have. That's the maximum capacity. So we are going to compare with what they need, and then we decide which of these resources is what limiting factor. So let's start with the steps. So we said that if you want to determine the optimum production plan, the combination of the product or the unit that they should produce, then we should what? Go through some few steps. Who will tell me the first step from the previous lecture? The first step, if you want to determine the number of units that need to be produced, then the first step will be what? Determine the limiting factor. Determine what? The limiting factor. So that's the first step. Determine the limiting factor or the bottleneck resource. So that's the first step that we will do. So anywhere in exams, they've asked you, you've seen throughput, they've asked you. So where do you start from? Step 1, limiting factor. Just go to the question if it's there. If it's not there, you move on to the next step in that order. Great. So step 1. That page not coming, sorry. Great. So let me do something here. So we will call it what? Production plan. So production mix. So we are calculating what? Production mix. Great. So production mix. So that's the first thing. And then step 1, we need a limiting factor. So I'll come here, right? Limiting what? Factor. Then I'll align it, the calculation of the limiting factor. Yeah, how do we determine the limiting factor? How do you calculate the limiting factor? To determine the limiting factor, you compare two things. Let's assume that our usual example, you want to probably cook banku and kenke, but you want to determine whether the resources such as what condo and water or even fire that you have will be enough to cook both products or both food, banku and what kenke. That's great. Now let's bring it here. So in short, compare what you have to what you need. Yeah, I'm using my own terms for understanding purposes. I'll bring the technical terms in later. Compare what you want, what you need. Maybe I need 300 working hours. But what do you have? Okay, currently I have 400 working hours. Okay, there is not a limiting factor. Why? Because I have what? More than what I need. It's not a limiting factor. However, if it's, let's assume I have 250 hours available. 250 hours available. Then it means that I only have 250. I lack by what? 50. So it's what? A limiting factor. That's what we are going to do to generate the limiting factor. So that is it. Now, let's see. So look at how we are going to do it. Now you can arrange it, the product by product. So let's name the product here. There are three products: alpha, beta, and what? Gamma. Great. And then the resources. We are summing the resources here in this direction. So the resources will come. The first resources on the list will be what? Will be the assemble. Assemble. Second resource on the list is what? Quality control. And the last one is what? Packaging. Packaging. Good. So how do we then get a resource? So we go to the question. So let's go to the question. Now, this is what you need most. Now, the question is this. If I want to produce a unit of alpha, I need 2 minutes. I need to spend 2 minutes to assemble the alpha products and spend 3 minutes to do the testing or the control, quality control checks. And then use 4 minutes to do the packaging. So if I need 2 minutes to complete a unit of alpha, so in total, how many units will I spend? Sorry, how many minutes will I spend? Meanwhile, the demand is for 1,000 for alpha. So it means that I'll multiply 1,000 by 2 minutes. It will give me what? 2,000. So that means to be able to assemble all the 1,000 units, I need what? 2,000 minutes. I need what? 2,000 what? Minutes. I'll be getting it. Great. So this is what we are going to do. So I'll put 2,000 minutes here. 2,000 is in minutes. Great. 2,000 minutes. Then I'll go to the next one, like that. The same alpha. If I want to do the quality control check, I need what? 3 minutes. But now I'm producing 1,000, right? So I'll spend how many minutes? 3,000 minutes. So that means I need 3,000 minutes to do the quality control check. Quality control check. I will do this for all. So now you see the game, right? So now you can flow with me. Then when we go to packaging, I need 4 minutes. But I'm producing 1,000. So that means I'll spend how many minutes? 4,000 minutes. So now let's see. 4,000 minutes. How do you know how you are getting the 4,000? Yes. Then I'll go to beta. For beta 2, the same thing. So let's start with the beta. Beta, I need 3 minutes to assemble the beta. After using the 3 minutes, I need 4 minutes to do the quality control checks. Then Packaging, 5 minutes. So for assemble, I'm producing 1,005. So to be what? 1,005 times what? 3 minutes. That will give me 4,500 minutes. Great. So I bring it here. 4,500 minutes. How do we get that? That's great. Adamiako, I hope you can hear me now. That's great. 1,000 for quality control. So I'll put a 6,000 here nicely. And this is how we are doing it. The same way you will be required in exams to provide such calculations. Great. Now let's move on. So we go to still beta packaging. We need 5 minutes. So each minute or each unit takes 5 minutes to do the packaging. So in all, we are producing 1,005. So 1,005 by 5 ought to be the answer. That's 7,500. 7,500. I wish now I'm doing it. Please, picture it. There are just two ways. You are lucky. There are just two ways. Two ways of determining the limiting factor. This is the main show, and this is the main aim, and this is the main way. But this style came in November 2018. There's a second style. That one is in advance, so we'll do that one too. Don't worry. So for gamma, you can continue the gamma. Someone should volunteer and give me the values for what? Gamma. So for gamma 2, let's see how best we can do it. Pick the values for gamma. Gamma 2, I need 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes to be able to do the assemble the heater. So they have to do the assemble, put all the parts. It will take 2.5 for what minutes. Meanwhile, we are producing what, or the demand is 850. So 2.5 by 850, what will be the answer? So 2.5 by what? 850. 2, good. So 2125. So I'll put it here, 2125. How we get it? That's great. So we're doing this exercise until you are done. 2125. Now let's continue. I'll be fast here. For that of quality control is 2 minutes, and now we are producing 850. Okay, so that means we need what? 850 by 2, and that will give us 1,005 or 1,007. I think it's 1,007, not 1,005. 1,007. Then the very last one. So the last one is 3 minutes by 850. So that will give us 3 by 850. So 3 by 850, that will be 2,550 like this. Okay. So when you do it like this, then you will then sum it up resources by resources, not product by product. This product, this product, these are resources. So we want to know. So here I'll place the terms here. So kindly sum them up, sum all the assemble time up for me. So all the assemble time. So summing all the assemble time, we will have all the assemble time. So that will be 2,000 plus 4,500. That's 6,500 plus 8. 1. So in all, what do you get? So get 8625, right? So total. In fact, the total we call it. The total we will call it what you need. In fact, you can call it total or what you need. Into bracket, let me put need here. So the resource that we need. So that's 8625 minutes. Agreed. 8625 minutes. So that is it. That's great. Is that true? Okay. It's 2,000 plus 4,500. Okay, that's great. Now let's do quality control. So quality control to we add like this. So 3,000 plus 6,000, making 9,000, and then plus 1,007. So that's 10,700, right? That's great. So that's what we need, or the total. That's what we need, or total. And then lastly, 4,000 packaging. So 4,000 plus 7,500, that's 11,500 plus 13,750, right? Great. Now this is what we need. This is what we need. Now let's first look for what we have so that we can compare. This is what we need, the total resources that we need in order to achieve what? Our objective. So let's look for what we have. What we have is a resource available. So let me use my local terms. What we do or have. That's the resource what? Available. That's the availability, the maximum resource that we have. So what is the highest assemble time that we have, or the maximum hours of assemble that we have? Or we can put what we need there. We can put the resource available. So how we get it, right? So the term is resource available. Now let's go to the question and calculate the resource available. And then you'll be fine. The resource available. How do you get available? They have to give it to you in the question. That one you don't assume. And I don't worry at all. So the resource available, they are. Let's go to the question. Resource available. Now, they are saying that the maximum hours, have you seen where we are? The second sentence, the maximum hours available for the machines are 150 hours for assemble. Okay, so assemble is 150 hours. Don't forget that we are doing in minutes. You have to convert the hours to what? Minutes. So to be what? 150 hours by 60 minutes. That will give us, so that's the total hours available. And that's what we have. That's what we have. How we get it? That's not what we need though. That's what we do what have. That's available. That's great. That's great. Now let's see. So 150 by 60, that will give us 9,000 and that's 9,000, right? That's 150 times 60 minutes. Is it 9,000? Good. So that's 9,000 minutes. So that means we have 9,000 minutes. Now let's see. Let's continue the game again. Now let's go and pick what we have for quality control. 170 hours for quality control. So that one too, let's convert it to minutes. 170 by 60. And that will give us 10,200, right? Great. So check your calculator for me. That's what? 10,200. That's perfect. I like that. I like your answer. 10,200. Please, if you're not getting 10,200, kindly let me know. If you're not getting 10,200, kindly let me know. If you're not getting 10,200, kindly let me know. Now let's do the last one. With the last one, that's the packaging. There are 250 hours, right? So 250 by 60, that will give us 250 hours by 60. So to give us 15,000, right? Okay, so 15,000. That's packaging. So 15,000. That's great. Now, tell me, which of these resources is a limiting factor? The one that we don't have it in larger supply, or the one that what we need is more than what we have, or what we have is less than what we need? So tell me, out of these resources, one of them is in what? limited supply. So let's take them one after the other. Assemble. We need 8,625, but we have 9,000. Oh, then we have more. Oh, 9,000 is what? More, right? Great. Let's go to quality. Quality, we need what? 10,700, right? Yes, we need 10,700. But we have what? For quality control? 10,200. So is it limited supply or it's an abundant supply? So we need 10,700, but we have what? 10,200. So quality control is what? A limiting factor. How do you get it? Quality control is what? A limiting factor. Why? Because what we need is more than what we have. What we need is more than what we have, and then you are done. Please make sure that you get every aspect of this. Great. So we can continue. Once you get one, you are done. Now let's check the last one and see. The last one too, we need what? 13,750. But we have what? 15,000. So we have more than what we need. So that one too, that's what? A good news. The good news is that we have more. So indeed, the limiting factor is what? Quality control machine. So when they are done like this, then instead of from the above calculation, or therefore quality control time or machine is the limiting factor. Limiting factor with a maximum, the maximum of what? 10,200 what? Minutes. You are done. So that's the first step. That's the first step that you do. So that's great. If you have any questions, suggestions, can you let me know? Okay, I think there's a question there. Now let's continue the game. Good. Now the next step. So now you're able to determine that the limiting factor is what? The packaging. So you continue like this, but there's no space here. So let me go clean, take this section off, and then continue the next step. So step one, determine the limiting factor. We're able to determine it. If it's in the question two, just write given and then state it fast. You are done. Just write given and then state it fast. You are done. So what's the step two? The step two. Step two. Who can tell us the step two? Yes, step two. Step two. Step two. So after determination of the limiting factor, what is the step two? Calculate the throughput per unit. So we are going to calculate what? Throughput per unit. So let's write on top. So after you down the one, you're going to determine the limiting factor. Already, you are going to calculate the throughput per unit. So throughput per unit. Or just throughput. It will be okay. Then the product alpha, beta, gamma. No shortcut in exams. Take notes. Then how do you find throughput? What do you say about throughput? We say throughput, you need two figures, right? Pick the sales, selling price. So the selling price, that's the sales. Selling fee less what? Material cost. So let's go to the question and let's select them. So if you have them, so let's go there. Material sales is what? 2.5. That's 2.5 and then 1175. So let me put them here. 2 Ghana cedis. Don't forget to bring the Ghana cedis on top. Yeah, don't forget your currency. Because if you write it without the currency, if I'm the one going through, I'll just put mango there. put tomato there, meaning you are there with mango. So that's 2.25, and then we have what? 1.175. So that is what the selling price for the product. That's the selling price. That's the selling price. Good. Okay, so there's a question here for us. So let's look at the material cost. So for the material cost too, material cost is 0.5, 0.81. So 0.5, 0.81, and what? 0.35. And this is how you are solving it. Just picture it step by step. Step 1, limiting factor. Step 2, the throughput. Please, if you can't do step 1, that does not mean that you should not do step 2. Some of the steps, they are on their own. They don't depend on any other. Good. So that is it. Now give me the throughput per unit. So throughput per unit. Let me shortcut it and throughput per unit. So 2 cedis, that's the selling price, less 0.5. That will give us 1.5 there. But let me add 0.00 here, so that will be 3. Then 2.25 less 0.81. What do you think will be the answer? Any calculator here? Okay. So 2.25 less 0.81. That should give her 1.44, right? That's great. 1.44. 1.44. And the last one will be 1.175 less what? 0.35. And that will give us 0.825. But here 0.825. Yes, you want to run it then? No, let's maintain it like this. So that's the second step. Servicing that is not difficult. The step, get your limiting factor. If you are lucky, if the examiner said the question on his birthday, probably will give you the limiting factor for free. So you just bring it. Second, your throughput per unit. How do you get the throughput? Bring the selling price less the material. You are done. That's great. Now let's see. Step 2, you calculate what? Throughput per limiting factor. So that's the step 3. Throughput per what? Limiting factor. So this is the 2. This is the 2. Throughput per limiting what? Factor. How do you get the throughput per limiting factor? That means we have to divide the individual throughput here by what? The limiting factors. Now that we know that the limiting factor is what? Is the quality control. So here in exams, you just have to bring the quality control. Great. So here we bring the quality control or the limiting factor. You can just write the limiting factor here nicely. Or if you know that the quality control is a limiting factor, you can just write quality control. Any of them, you are okay. So the limiting factor, let's go and pick the quality control per unit or the quality control time per unit. So let's see. So the quality control time will be what? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and what? And 2 minutes. So 3, 4, 2. Have you seen? 3, 4, 2. So you come here, 3, 4, 2. And it's in minutes. So what's the limiting factor per unit? They divide the throughput per unit by the limiting factor per unit. Sorry. What is the throughput per limiting factor? It will be throughput per limiting factor. Agreed. Throughput per limiting factor. Throughput per limiting factor. So 1.5 divided by 3. That will give us what? Ghana city of 0.5 per minute. So that's the full version. If you want to write a full version, that's what you do. So that's the throughput per limiting factor. So let's see. So this divided by this. So be your Ghana city 0.5 per minute. Let's come here. 1.44 divided by 4. So 1.44 divided by 4 minutes. That will give us 0.36. So that will give us what write it to Ghana city of what? 0.36. If you don't want trouble, you can take a comprehensive insurance. How do you take the insurance? That's the margin of what? Safety. Take insurance. How do you take the insurance? Clean up. When writing this, tell the examiner that you are calculating throughput per limiting factor. Open a bracket like this. Tell the examiner that it's Ghana cedi per minute. You are working in Ghana cedi per minute. That's a comprehensive insurance. You save yourself from all trouble. So do the calculation 0.5. So just write a 0.5 sheet over here. There's no need for you to be writing cedi per minute, cedi per minute. Time in. So here it was 0.36, right? You are done. That's a comprehensive insurance. It covers you. So you finish the paper. Then let's see. So this one will be the 0.825 divided by 2. And that'll give us, that's 0.4125. So 0.4125. So you can make it 413. Then you can run it to 413. But I like full figures. Yes, I like full figures. I don't like running. I like exact answers. Running, no. So that is it. So that's a step 3. So this is a step 3. So step 1, step 2, step 3. Wait. Then we are moving on. So, and then you'll be fine. So let me. Now the step 4 is the ranking. Step 4, rank them. So rank. Let's start ranking. So the ranking. Rank this. These are money. So each and every time, throughput limiting factor, the quality control time, you are getting what? 50 pesos, 36 pesos, 41 pesos. So which one is giving you the highest money if you are running ranking them? At this time, the 41 pesos is more than 36 pesos, right? This one is coming from the back end. Or this one is more than this. Which one is the highest one? 41 is more than 36, so this one will be first, I like that, you know. Let's rank them. Highest one first. First 41 is more than 36, so this one will be first, are you sure? It's true. This one must be first, right? First. Yes, because 50 pesos is more than what? 41 pesos. 50 pesos is more than, followed by the 41 pesos second. Then the third. So this is the meaning, or this is the interpretation. This is the meaning, or this is the interpretation. When you are producing, spend all your time, your energy, your effort in terms of the quality control in this order. Use all the time that you have in terms of quality control, the quality control time, to produce the first unit. If some of the time still left or available, use it to produce what? The second product. The remaining time available, then you produce what? The third product. That is the meaning and that's the interpretation. So I will pause here for just a minute for you to see the step 5 and then you'll be fine. Step 5. So step 5, after the ranking, we call it what? Resource allocation and then the optimum production mix. The resource allocation. So let's go to step 5. So that one I'll clean because I need enough space. And that's the last stage in the production mix. The last stage in the production mix. The last stage in the production mix. So let's see. So step 5. In exam, when you are solving, you don't need to show the steps here like that. You don't need to show the steps. You just go, let them put the heading. The heading will differentiate it because this question is like just one A like this for 5 marks. So 5 marks question, you're showing steps like as if like a 21 and no. But this one for teaching purposes. Yes. So that is it. So step 5 is what the resource allocation. Resource allocation. So resource allocation. So now we are going to allocate and the optimum production plan. You can add it to it. Optimum what? Production plan. And then the optimum production plan. We have a nice table. So we said that we start by saying rank. What do you write again? The name of the product. The units to be produced. And what again? Limiting factor per unit. Agreed. Yes. And then what again? Total limiting factors, right? Great. So in a nice table like this, nice table. So you start with the rank. Which product score first? The first product on the list. So write first, second, so third. Yeah, there's no photo. Amazing. Something like this. Please, you have to be fast because all these questions, the maximum we can award you is 5 marks. You determine all these 5 marks. That's the maximum. That one can go to attach a heart. 5 marks. Up to what you are going to do, including everything. I'm not discouraging you in advance. The 5 marks. All what you've done is 5 marks. Maximum. Maximum 5 marks. Maximum. Now let's see. The product that scored first was what product was? Alpha, right? Write the product name here. Must be info. Alpha. Who scored second? It was Gamma, right? Gamma scored second. The third one was what? Beta. And good. We do like this. Now, we are going to produce according to the rank. So first, we have to produce all of what alpha, the demand for alpha first. If some of the resources are still available, then we step it down in that order. Great. So first, what's the demand for alpha? Now, demand for alpha is what? Alpha is 1,000. So demand is 1,000. So we are going to produce all the 1,000. Why? Because it's giving us the highest what? Highest throughput per limiting factor. So alpha 1,000. What is the limiting factor? Don't forget the limiting factor. You can even fill that column. We know the limiting factor to be what? Quality control. So alpha, the quality control time is what? 3 minutes. So you can list that place 3, 4, 2, right? Yes, so we can fill that section. 3, 4, 2. That's the limiting factor per unit. That one, you can put that column. So now the question is this. If a unit, I need 3 minutes, and now I'm going to produce 1,000. So in total, how many minutes will I spend? So I'll spend on 3,000 minutes. That's great. All these ones are in minutes. That examiner is minute to let them know. Because the examiner was moving you through what? Moving you through minutes and hours. Now let's go to gamma. And don't forget that the overall total is what? Great. Don't forget the overall total is 10,200. So after when you are going, we cannot produce or we cannot exceed 10,200 minutes. So we should bear in mind. That's when we are moving, we are checking. Now for gamma, the demand for gamma is what? 850. So that means 850. Can we produce the 850? So 850 by 4, that will give us 850 by 4. 850 by 4. 3,400. There's a question. So let me go and put the question here. So that's great. Great. So we'll good. Now let's continue the game. So now we have 3,400. Putting these two together, making 6,400, right? What is the demand for the next product? Good. So the demand for the next product, let's see, if that's 1,500 and 1,500, that we need 3,000 hours, and then it might not be enough. So the remaining hours or the remaining minutes or the remaining time will not be enough to produce the all of what beta. So you have to do what? You have to produce parts and leave the other. So you just for the last one, don't worry yourself. Just find the difference. So 6,400 from 1,000, 10,200. That will give us so 3,800. So the question is, if we have 3,800 minutes available, and each unit we need what 2 minutes. How many units can this total minute produce? So it produces what 1,009. You sure?
Divided by 2.
Yeah. So the limiting factor, gamma there was 2. So gamma is supposed to be 2 rather. But I was going for 342. How we get it? So it means that we change this down to 1,007, right? Great. So let's make the few corrections. So 1,007, right? Perfect. So what's the remaining balance? Whatever remains, we are going to use to produce 5,000. 5,500. That's perfect. So we left it 5,500. So now we have to use it to produce what? The remaining beta. So 5,500 divided by 4. That will give us how many units? 1,375. Meanwhile, the demand is 1,005. You can't produce all because limited was supply. Now, by the 5 marks that I was saying, it includes this. If you leave it here, if not solve the question. Yes, let's go back to the question and see whether you solve it. If you leave it here, if not solve the question states what? I mean, it's a small question. How you travel far? How many units of beta should be produced each week? So tell us the number of units. But here I'll do for all. So the number of units to be produced, we are just going to assemble here. Like bring this section out again. So the number of units to be produced, they are, you write them alpha. So alpha, beta, and then the gamma. So tell the examiner, alpha they should produce was 1,000 units. Beta they should produce for 1,375 units. And then gamma they should produce what? 850 units. You are done. When you do this, you now qualify for the 5 marks. If you leave it here, if you don't answer the question, so take note, please. If you leave it here, unless probably you are getting between 49, 48, then you consider. So take it. So now that's the end of the first session. In fact, this question, the central focus was on the beta. So just that it's scholars. So that was the central focus. So the examiner was looking for this one. Then you are done. Great. More game. Okay, so we are done with the first part. Now we will continue. But before you continue, we will calculate throughput accounting ratio. Yes, so I'll like us to calculate the throughput accounting ratio and the profits at hand. So So we're going to calculate two items now. The profit. What's the maximum profit available? And then what is the throughput accounting ratio? What's the maximum profit available? And then the throughput. That one is not part of the question. I am adding it to it. When they ask you to calculate for the profit, how do you calculate for it? When they ask you to calculate for the throughput accounting ratio, how do you do it? Because we did that one last week, and most of you were not part of it. So it's an advantage. Great. Now let's see. To calculate the profit, I'll do the profit first because that one is a bit straightforward. And marginal absorption, how do you calculate profit? As we did the first. If you don't have that video to kindly go through that one and you'll be fine. So to determine the profit, it's not part of the game. Profit is not part of the game. I am adding it to it because we can ask you. Yes, we can ask you. Hey, about. About. So to get the profits and attribute, so calculation of what? The profit. The calculation of the profit. Calculation of the profit. Calculation of the profit. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So calculation of the profits. Great. So profit. You start with your throughput. So let's write a throughput here. Open a bracket. Alpha, beta, gamma. Open a bracket like this. What's the demand? Alpha, we said that it should produce all the 1,000 times the throughput per unit, right? What's the throughput per unit for alpha? The throughput per unit. So let me pick it from here. The selling price was, for alpha, the selling price was 2. And then the direct material was 0.5. So therefore, the throughput per unit is what? 1.5. Good, so it was 1.5. So times 1.5 Ghana cedis, right? Great. So that is it. So 1,000 times 1.5, that will give us 1,500. Perfect. Now let's see. Now let's see. Now let's see. What about that of beta? Beta, the demand is what? 1,750 or 1,375, and then the throughput per unit is what? What's the throughput per unit? We have 2.25 less 0.81. 2.25 less 0.81. This will help me with the answer. 2.25 less 0.81. Less 0.81. Less 81. Good. We had 1.44. Good. Good. So it is 2.25 less 0.81. Yeah. So that's 1.44. So here the demand is 1,375 times your Ghana cedis of 1.44. That's to calculate for the profits. So times 1,375. That's the demand. 1980, right? 1980. If that this question was likely to be examined in 1980. 1980. And the last one, gamma. For gamma, the demand was what? 850, right? 850, and then the throughput per unit is what? What's the throughput per unit? Let's go to the question. But throughput per unit is the one that we have 0.825. Yes, we have 0.825. It was 1.175 plus 0.35. That's 0.825. 0.825. So 0.825. So times 850. So times 850. That will give us that will give us 701.25. So 701.25. So therefore, what's the total throughput? To put all of this together. So plus 1980 plus 1005. That's 418141. Is that true? Okay, it's on 2000, 3000. Okay, it can be true. 4181.25. That's the total throughput. So that's the total of throughput. So total throughput. Then less what? The operating cost, which is the same as the factory cost. It might include what? Labor. So less the factory cost or the operating cost. Now let's go to the question. Let's go and pick the factory cost or the operating cost. Operating expenses including labor is what? 4,000 Ghana cedi, not dollars. So 4,000 cedi. So here we what? 4,000. 4,000. So therefore, the net profit is what? Net profit. Net profit is 181.25. That's the net profit available. We are done. So when they ask you for profit, this is a game. And this is how you go through to get a profit. This is how you go through to get a profit. Now I'm going to do for throughput accounting ratio, and then you'll be fine. Yes, throughput accounting ratio. And then from here, for the remaining part, it's your own. All the questions involved. I'll pick one tough question, one pass question, and then break it down from here. But today you solve some for me for we leave. Yes. Great. Okay. Great. Now let's continue the game. We're going to calculate the throughput accounting ratio. But this is today's class is totally repetition of last meeting, but a step ahead. Now we have what we call throughput accounting ratio. Let's write it before. We said that we call it what? Throughput accounting ratio. Accounting ratio. Now, we normally shortcut called TPAR. TPAR, throughput what? Accounting ratio. You only need to shortcut it if the examiner has done that too. So take note. Now, this one, it's a ratio that measures the profitability of each product. It measures what? The profitability of what? Each product. Now, what we calculated, it was just the throughput. It didn't tell us the actual money that we are getting from what? The product. It just informs us that if you want to produce, you should produce the alpha first because it can give us the highest what? Throughput, but not tell us the measure. So you just measure what? The average profitability. So you just compare revenue to that of what? Cost. So it compare the cost or the operating cost of producing the product to that of what? The revenue. That's great. That's great. Okay, so how do you get that one? Now there are three steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3 are done. First, step 1, calculate the throughput per limiting factor. Throughput per what? Limiting factor. We've done that. How we get it? That's the first step. Step 2, calculate what? Throughput per what? Further, step 2 is what? Calculate the operating cost per what? Limiting factor. Step 3, divide step 1 by step 2. You are done. So let me repeat the steps again. If you want to determine the throughput accounting ratio, 3 steps. Relax and do what? The 3 steps. Step 1, throughput per limiting factor. You've done that. You know this one. Step 2, operating cost per limiting factor. can also call it factory cost per limiting factor. You can also call it fixed cost per limiting or factor. Because in throughput, factory cost, fixed cost, operating costs are what? The same. Great. Now, so far in this question, this is the one that is not calculated, and that will be the most case. Now, to get this one is equal to the total operating cost divided by the total limiting factors. You are done. That's all. Total limiting factors or the total limiting factor. The 10,200. Now, the step 3 is the TPL. Now, calculate the throughput accounting ratio. How do you calculate it? It's equal to the answer in step 1 divided by the answer in step 2. You are done. So now let's put them together. So in short, throughput accounting ratio is what? Throughput per limiting factor divided by what? Operating cost per limiting factor. This is the what? Throughput accounting ratio. As we said that throughput accounting ratio just measure what? The profitability of a product to that of the operating cost. Just compare relatively and know which of the products is giving you the highest profit or the least, and then that order. So they are going to calculate it for that of this organization. That's the alpha beta. Yes, total operating cost divided by total limiting factor. So it's operating cost per limiting factor. That's great. So now let's see how best we can calculate for this question. This particular question, the throughput per limiting factor has been calculated. So just repeat it, and then we are done. You just repeat it, and then we are done. Now let's see. Great. Now we have alpha, we have beta, and we have gamma. So step 1, throughput per limiting factor. So let's write throughput per limiting factor. Now throughput per limiting factor. The throughput per limiting factor, we know it already. So just produce them for me. Can you produce them for me? I think here we have 0.5 there. I think here we have 0.36. Here we have 0.4125 there. That's the throughput per limiting factor, right? Yes. That's great. Now let's calculate the operating cost per limiting factor. Operating cost, operating cost per limiting factor. It's equal to the total operating cost, which is what? 4,000, right? 4,000 divided by the total limiting factor, which is what? 10,200. And now give us, and now it's going to be the same throughout. So 4,000 divided by 10,200. Any answer for me? So 4,000 divided by 10,200. That's 0.392, right? Great. So to be 0.392. And it's going to be the same throughout. That one we don't have for individual products. It's going to be the same throughout. So the same answer will be repeated for all the products. So let me write this one well here. 0.392, 0.392, and 0.392. So what's the throughput accounting ratio? So therefore, throughput accounting ratio is what? Then we are done. Exactly. So you pick your calculator, then let's throw the answer. So it will be 0.5 divided by 0.392. And now give us 1.28. 1.28. So 1.28. 1.28. Then move on to the next one. 0.36 divided by 0.392. And that'll give us 0.92. So 0.90. Then the third one will be 0.4125 divided by 0.392. And that'll give us 1.05. So 1.05. That is it. Great. Now we said that the answer will be in 3 folds. The answer will be what? Either less than 1, less than 1, greater than 1, greater than what? 1, or equal to 1. Each of them have a meaning. Equal to what? 1. So 3 folds. Some of the answers. That less than 1, greater than 1, or equal to what? 1. If it is less than 1, that product is, it means, first tell us, it means that the operating costs are what? More than the return. In fact, throughput can also be called return. So any product, which of this is less than 1? This guy. So that means beta. Beta is performing bad. Why? Because the cost is what? We are operating cost is 39 pesos, but we are getting 36 as return. So it's even showing here that that product is not doing well. So that's why the throughput accounting ratio is what? Is less than 1. So since the throughput accounting ratio is less than 1, it suggests that the operating costs are more than what? The return or the throughput. And hence that product is what? Unprofitable. Don't go and just go and say straightforward that the product is what? Unprofitable. What basis? Tell us that because the throughput is less than 1, the throughput accounting ratio is less than 1, the operating cost is what? More, or the return is what? Less. That makes it what? Unprofitable. You are giving a base. Now, greater than 1. Which of these are greater than 1? So this guy and this guy, they are greater than 1, right? Great. So greater than 1 means the return is more than what? The operating cost, and hence the product is what? Profitable. You are done. If it is equal to 1, that means both the return and then the cost, operating costs are what? The same. That's the break-even section, right? Then you are done. That's great. So that is the interpretation. And now, the last aspect of throughput, which again is that anytime the throughput is less than 1, less than what? 1, especially for beta, then it means that the company must assess reasonable ways of increasing the throughput accounting ratio. Then what are the ways that the company can adopt to increase the throughput accounting ratio? So let's see ways of increasing what? Throughput accounting ratio. So what are the strategies that the company must adopt in order to what? Increase their throughput accounting ratio? So let's write it small here. Normally it's happening for this company like this. We can ask you, suggest the possible ways that this company must adopt in order to what? Increase the throughput accounting ratio of what? Beta. So ways of increasing throughput accounting ratio. Ways. We did it last time, but let's go over again so that you'll be fine. Ways of what? Increasing the throughput accounting ratio. 1. Increase the selling price. Increase what? Increase the selling price, of course. As soon as you increase the selling price, all other things being equal, the throughput will increase, and hence the throughput accounting ratio will increase. 2. Reduce both the material and then the operating cost. Reduce what? Reduce the material and operating cost. How do you do that? Let me give you an example. So 1, ways of reducing the material and operating cost. Cut down the non-value added activities. Any activity that which is not adding value, please don't do it. Some of the products, when you buy them, some parts are not necessary. You can still enjoy the product, those parts. Look at the children's items or the baby's item. They'll make it for attraction. Meanwhile, they'll price it. Let's assume that this marker, they've done something here, like a handle. Meanwhile, that handle will come with a cost, and they will cost you. So if you can take those unnecessary parts out And then you focus on the core purposes or the core, whatever you want the product to do. Focus on that aspect instead of adding non-value added activity, especially unnecessary packaging. Let me give you a physical example. Have you ever bought the olden days kenke? That's the fancy kenke, right? Fancy kenke. You realize that the people were using a lot of leaves. A lot of leaves. The kenke is small. Small kenke which is inside. But if you see the kenke, they will wrap with a lot of leaves. Remove the first coat, second coat, third coat. And when you see the kenke, small one. So, in fact, I don't know whether to make the kenke look big and price it high, but indirectly you are wasting your own leaves. No, the leaves to come with the cost. Instead of you telling the truth that okay, my kenke, this side is 1 cedi. So just use one wrapper and save 1 2. How we get it? So you cut down the non-adding value activity to help you to reduce the cost, and then your throughput accounting ratio will go high. So 2, you can also reduce material and operating costs by employing more of what? Technology than labor. Using more of machines, technology, advanced technology, machines than labor. Yes, because machines will be faster and efficient than what? Labor. So if you employ that, in fact, the operating cost will be reduced, the labor hours will be reduced, the fixed cost will go down. That's great. That's great. So these are the ways that you can adopt to increase the throughput. Now let's see the third. This one is for that of is another ways of reducing what the operating cost and material cost. Now let's look at the third one. You can increase your operating capacity. Increase what? Increase the operating capacity. Operating capacity. Formally, if your machines can work for, let's say, 5 hours. You just try, let them work for 6 hours, because the longer they work, ideally, the lesser the cost, because the higher you produce, the lesser the fixed cost. Because if you produce more, some of the units will absorb the fixed cost. The fixed cost will be minimal. Yes. It's like you renting a room. Whether you bring all your family members to the room to occupy the same rent. If like you alone, sleep at one corner, just one corner, still the same rent, right? Yes. So it's better for you to bring more people to occupy and share the bill among them. That's why most of the tenants or most of the landlords, they don't pay light bill. Most of them don't pay light bill. Yes, because of they are what? Increasing operating capacity. Because when they take from you, take from him, take from him, they can add it. That's all. You don't need to add one. But if it to be only him, maybe and one tenant, you can't push all of them to that one tenant too. So by means you pay some. But if there are many, don't pay some. You just put everything, especially the water bill. You will see. So I'll just arrange it and then bring it. So that is it. Now I'm done. This part of it, this part of the solution is not part of the question. Take note.
Increase in machine hours.
Increase in machine hours. That's good. That's the operating capacity. The bottleneck resource. Increase it. That's the bottleneck resource. Increase it. Great. Increase the operating capacity. Increase the operating capacity. That's great. Please, this aspect is not part of the question. But if I don't do this, you may not understand the subsequent question I'm going to do. Because this question is a very critical one. It's a very critical question. We are not done with the question. Now let's continue with the question. Now there's a B part. Now let's carefully understand the B part. It's very important. Now there's a B part. They say in order to be able to meet increase in demand, the company name is called CBF Co. CBF Co bought another assembler machine. Wow. So have you seen the bought what? That's the after the A part. Yes, we are reading from the scenario first. There was a scenario then. So in order to be able to meet increase in demand, the company bought what? Another assembly machine. Wow. They bought another assembly machine, which is in line with what? Increasing what? The operating capacity, right? How we get it? So meaning we are heading towards that level. So the company bought another assembly machine. So doubling what? The capacity. They've increased the capacity. That's great. That's good news. Wow, they've done well. In fact, this one, they can use this one to capitalize and then, how do you call it? Utilize the fixed cost and then reduce what? The cost in the long run, and then reduce the operating cost and increase the throughput accounting ratio. Now, the quality control and packaging machine were also modified. Wow, modification of machine. Oh. And then here, let me even add more to it. Some of the company, they wait for their machine to break down before they service and repair it. So if you want to increase the throughput, always make sure that your machines are what? Up to date, efficient. Some company, they wait there for their cars to get locked on the vehicle, like on the road, middle of the journey, before they go and repair and then tow the car back to the office. No, you're not being efficient. So repair, maintenance of machines can also let you reduce what? The operating cost. Some organization, they replace their machine as and when they get like every 3 years. All your machine get new ones every 3 years. So as and when they are getting older, they give you a lot of issues, a lot of fault, a lot of maintenance costs will be higher when the machines are getting older. Fresh machine, hardly for you to incur highly expensive what? Maintenance cost. So all of this will help you to increase what? The throughput accounting ratio. So let's move on. So you can see all these issues in the question, right? Now let's see. Now, so increasing the capacity by 70% and 40% respectively. So quality control was increased by what? 70. And then packaging was also increased by what? 40%. Meanwhile, the quality control was 10,200, so it increased by 70 to increase. And then packaging, we had what? Packaging was 15,000 or yes, we increased it by another 40%, right? That's great. So 40 by 15, that's 6, making 23 or 21,000. That's great. Now, this is an important section. This section is very important. Let me highlight it. Now, they say per unit factors of sales price and material cost and machine time remain what? Altered. So meaning unchanged. It's still the same, right? That's great. Now let's move on. They say the economy thrived. Economy thrived or thrived, and the maximum demand for each of the products rose to what? 1,500 for alpha and 2,700 for beta. That's 2,750 for beta and 900 for what? Gamma. The operating expenses increased by what? 30%. The packaging machine became what? So they've identified the bottleneck for you. They've what? In fact, the big part you are going to solve it too. That's why I did all this. Yes. So now the packaging become what? The bottleneck. So that means the limiting factor after the massage is no longer going to be what? Quality control. It's now what? Packaging. So now our limiting factor now be packaging. Now let's see. Let's continue the game. Now the weekly maximizing output has been calculated. Oh wow, this examiner is very good though. He has already calculated weekly what? Maximizing output. As 1,500 for alpha, 2,460 for what? Beta, and 900 for gamma. With a weekly profit of what? 18,000, 1,852.4. Great. Now all this one you're going to confirm it for me. That's homework number 2. Confirm it for me. Now B, let's continue the B. What is the throughput accounting ratio at this profit maximizing level of output?
to 2 decimal places here. The examiner was specific. 2 decimal what places. So now you're going to calculate it for me. Kindly calculate the throughput accounting ratio for me. Start work. Now you are using only 15 minutes for this question. No, 15 minutes is too much. Just 5 minutes. Because the maximum I can give is 5 minutes. So that we will discuss the C. You are calculating what? What is the throughput accounting ratio at this profit maximum, meaning after the changes, because we've already calculated the whole throughput accounting ratio. So perform the changes for me. So start work. You only have 5 minutes. Exactly 7:41. I'll pick it up. So exactly 7:41. I'll pick it up. If I do one, you do one-to-one mapping. In fact, that's how the class is. So it's an interactive class. Do one, I do one. As soon as you are done, you know the game, right? You take a snapshot of it and you quickly upload it and send it to me. I will get it. Or you can turn on your video, turn the back camera, and then scan it. If you scan it, I'll take a screenshot over here. Then I'll just get it. So anyhow, I'll get it. You are doing the B part. You are looking for, the question says, what is the throughput accounting ratio? So calculate the throughput accounting ratio at this profit maximizing level of output to 2 decimal places. So after the changes, so first of all, what do you need in calculating of the throughput accounting ratio? You need a throughput per limiting factor, right? So using the new issues, now they've changed the limiting factor. So then using the new limiting factor, then you calculate for it. When you are done, then you calculate for what? The operating cost per limiting factor. In fact, I can show you the formula. It's on the board, so you can have a look at it. So this is the step. So I need it like this. So do it like this for me. If the throughput per unit, the throughput per limiting factor is not there, show me how you, or show the workings, show the calculation for me, and you'll be fine. Please, if you don't have the question, let me upload it on the platform right now. For those of you who don't have it, so that you can go through yourself. Because I mean, unable to project the full question because you need to get a full question. So I can't be moving it to. So let me upload it on the platform right now for you, and then you'll be fine. So start with exactly 7:40. In fact, let me add 3 minutes to it. Exactly 7:40, 45. I'll pick it. 7:45. Everybody try something. Please try something. Either whatever you understand, put it down. Whether it's correct or not, put it down. Yes. You can't judge your own answer. So you just put it down, present it. That's all. Whatever you understand. Whatever you understand, just present it. Don't need to worry. Don't worry about the solution, the answer, you getting correct. Or we are practicing. So be part of the practicing team, okay? In fact, today it might be wrong, tomorrow it will not be wrong. But if you look at the fact that you get it wrong, so you won't do it, with some way. In exams, you practice it too. So please, let's practice, okay? Now let's see how best we can solve the question. So what I'll just clean is, I'll clean the throughput, right? Yes, so I'll clean this section like this. And then we are going to look for, good, received. Yes, received. I like that. Let me scan through the answer. I'm scanning through everybody's answer. Yes, received. Wow. I like the answer. Wow. In fact, definitely you get some part correct. That's what I like. Definitely you have to get some part correct. And definitely you have to get some part also wrong. Have you seen? That's part of the game. Yes. That's why the pass mark is what? 50, not 100. Yes, you are doing the B. Yes. No. What I did, the latter part wasn't part of the question. It was the intuition. So first, I need a throughput. So they are giving me throughput per unit. So throughput
per unit. I'll start from throughput per unit. Why? Because in the question, they stated clearly that per unit factor, where is it? Yes. They said per unit factors of sales price and material costs are unaltered. So that means sales minus material costs, they're the same. So throughput is going to be the same. So now give you the throughput figures. That one, everybody will have to score it correct. So throughput figures, they are throughput figures. What are they? That's 1.5, 1.44, 0.825, right? Is it 825?
No, 258.
Okay. Then we come to limiting factor per unit. Limiting factor per unit. You are done. Now just that they've changed the limiting factor. They've what? Changed the limiting factor from the quality control that we know to what? Packaging. That's the only difference. So now they say that packaging machine became the bottleneck. So now you have to go and pick the packaging time, not quality control. That's a new. So packaging time is what? 453. That's the 453. Good. Packaging 453. So you pick 453. So if we can't score anything, not these areas. The difficult section, leave it for the exam, okay? They have the whole day to solve it. So don't worry, we have only 3 hours to solve all the questions. So what's the throughput per limiting factor? So throughput per what? Limiting factor. Throughput per limiting factor will be good. I like that.
0.375.
Wow, 0.375. Have you seen that you can do it? Have you seen? Yes.
0.288.
I like that. The last one. 0.275. Have you seen that you can solve the question? Yes, have you seen? That is great. Now let's continue the game. That's the first step for throughput accounting ratio. Second step, what do? That's where the issue is. That's where the issue is. The limiting factor. That's the operating cost per limiting factor. So this is step 1. Step 2, operating cost per what? Limiting factor. How do you get it? It's equal to total operating cost divided by what? Total limiting factor. Here I'm going to do the calculation somewhere and bring it because this calculation is some way. That's where the issue is. Now, what's the total operating cost? Who can tell me? Now, the total operating cost has changed. It wasn't the same as the old one, so they changed it. How we get it? So according to the question, now let's go to the question. Let's see whether the operating cost will change it or still the same. They are saying that the operating cost increased by about 30%. So it means that what's the old operating cost? 4,000. So if the old operating cost is 4,000 and you're going to increase by 30%, what's the new operating cost?
5,200.
I like that. In fact, let me see if I hope you wrote it there. That's great. It's what? It's 1,002. So you add it back to it, making 5,200. Or if you don't want trouble, you can tell the examiner that I'm doing this working somewhere here. So work it. The operating cost will be something like this. I don't declare this one. I'll come back to it. So let me do it somewhere here. So on the top, I'll say 4,000 times what? 1.3. So that's the operating cost, the new operating cost, right? Because that's a 5,200. I like that, but I like the answer. So now let's go to the down one. We say divided by what? Total limiting factors, right? Now the limiting factor, they change it to what? Packaging. So packaging, what was the packaging time? The maximum packaging time available, it was 250 hours, right? So the old one was 250 hours by 250 by 60. We had 15,000, right? The old packaging minute was 15,000, agreed. That's the first working that we did. So it's 250 times what?
60, that give us 15,000. Agreed. Have they increased it or still the same? Packaging time. Let's go and see the question. They are saying that according to the first statement or the first paragraph, second sentence, the quality control and packaging machines were also modified. So increasing the capacity by what? 70 and 40 respectively. So increasing what? The capacity by what? 70 and 60. So which one is for packaging? Packaging increased by how much?
No,
40.
I like that. Packaging increased by 40. So that means the old packaging minutes that we have to increase it by 40. And the old packaging minutes that we have is what? 15,000. Why 15,000? It was 250 by 60. And we had it from the first calculation. That's great. You don't need to worry. You'll be fine. So times what? 1.4. So it's the same as you finding 40% and adding it back, right? So in all, it will be 5,200 divided by, that's 21,000 because 40% on 15,000 give us 6,000 plus 15,000, 21,000. Great. So 5,200 divided by 21,000. That's the new word, factory cost or the operating cost per limiting factor. Agreed. And that will give us great. So that will give us something like that will be 5200 divided by 21. What is it? 310. So that's 0.248. 0.248. Agreed. So 0.248. So here it's 0.248, 0.248, and 0.248. Agreed. Perfect. I think someone had to correct it. I thought you are going to do the steps. Great. So that is it. Now kindly copy the workings. Let me take it off. These very workings. How we arrived. But let me write the answer down. I had 0.248. Agreed. 0.248. That part is not coming clear. So now let's go down. Okay now. Okay, so that's great. That's great. So kindly take that section and then let me take it off and calculate the throughput accounting ratio. Then we are done. So have you seen how nice it is? So even I was so happy. Even if you can't get this one from me, at least you can get this one. Can't get this one. You can get this one from me at least. Then out of the 50 there, you get there. So okay, so let me take this one. That's good. This. And the third one is the throughput accounting ratio. Throughput accounting ratio. That one division, right? That one a little continuum. So let's see. The continuation, right? So here we get something like 0.375 divided by 0.248. That's 1.52. They say 2 decimal places. This is where we need the 2 decimal places. So this is where we need the 2 decimal places. 1.51. Then the next one is 2.88 divided by 2.4. 2.248. Yes, 2.248. That's 1.16. 1.16. That's great. The next one will be 0.275 divided by
0.42, 48, it's 248. That's right here. 1.11. That's great. So 1.11. I am done. 1.11. Now, the next person that will score the C part correct will be the accounting cracker for the day, and you'll be the management accounting force of the night, and it will translate in exams. So now this is a new throughput accounting ratio. Have you seen? So when we calculate and all the answers were less than 1, so that means there's something there. All your answers were all your answers were less than 1. That means there's something there. That's good. Yeah. So now let's go to the next question. So they will answer the question there. It's very important.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Great. Now, critically and carefully, analyze the C questions. The one who will answer it correctly will be the accounting cracker of the night. Critically. Now the C question, the person who scored the C question. In fact, I'll have the solution on the board. The solution is on the board, but the one who scored correct will be the accounting cracker of the day. So it goes like this. Which of the variable would increase the company's throughput accounting ratio? So which of the variable has increased it? Now let's go back to the old solution. If you have your old solution that the previous solution that we did, give me the old throughput accounting ratio. Old throughput accounting ratio. 1.28, 0.91, 92. Good. Have you seen this? So it means that all the throughput accounting ratio has been what? Increased. Oh, yeah, it has been increased. So the question is, what caused the increment? That's the question we're asking you. Yes, suggest a specific way. So they perform a miracle to increase their throughput accounting ratio. So what are the ways that we can adopt to increase the throughput ratio or the throughput accounting ratio? So that is it. Any idea? Increase the selling price. I like that. It's on the board, right? Increase the selling price. I like that. In fact, I'll pick it. Any answer is what valid until the final marking scheme is reviewed. So I'm asking specifically to the person. So I say what? Critically, carefully analyze the question C and answer it for me.
Increase operating capacity.
Okay. That's great.
The packaging machine was modified.
Great. Okay, great. So I've received 2 answers so far. 3. Packaging machine was modified. Increase in what? Operating capacity. Good. And I've also received increase in selling price. Okay, that's great. Any answer is what? Valid until the final marking scheme is reviewed. So I think that this question is before you in exam. What do you do? Which of the variable would increase the company's throughput accounting ratio? Now, according to the scenario, it says that in order to meet increase in demand, the company bought another assembly machine, first point. So doubling the capacity, second point. The quality control and packaging machine were also modified, third point. So increasing their capacity, concluding it. Now, they say that the per unit factor of sales price, material cost remain unaltered or remain the same. So the selling price has not been increased, so it's still the same. Material cost is still the same. So even though increase in selling price could increase throughput accounting ratio for this company specific, they've not done that. Material cost is still the same. Operating cost, in fact, operating cost guys has what? Increased. Operating cost has what? Increased. Meanwhile, we say we should what? Reduce operating cost. Find ways of reduce operating cost rather than increase it. So here the factors that contribute or the variables
Let's see whether they're asking for more than one. Then we see. Let's see if they're asking for more than one. What are the variables? So just one, their capacity. So in fact, those that said modification, the increase of the machines, in fact, you're right. So I have two accounting crackers for the night. So the two accounting crackers for the night. Yes, I have the two accounting crackers for the night. I hope you get the question very well. But this question is critically, but all of them is in one section. It's boxed onto the capacity. All of them. Buying new machine and increasing your capacity. Modifying it to increase the capacity. And so doing it double the capacity up. So it end up with increasing your operating capacity. So the capacity of the machines, that's what led to the increase in the throughput accounting ratio. Nicely examined like that. So such a question, if you are going to instead of increase in selling price, reduce the operating cost, we are just saying that we are giving us what textbook knowledge. This one was linked to the questions. Great. Now, on that note, we have fully satisfied ourselves with throughput, but we have solved only two questions. Good. Now, question 3 is yours. It's a 2018 November ICA past question. Please, this one needs a solution. I may not ask again. The next time we are meeting, we are doing a different topic. We are not meeting throughput again. So the only questions are yours. But I have some tough questions in it. Critical questions that if I don't solve it with you, I'll not be happy. This one is one of them. This one is your examiner's past question. This is ICA November 2018 past question. Yes. So first of all, let's go to the comment and see. The examiner said, calculate the machine utilization rate for each of the machine and explain which of the machine is what? Bottleneck, a limiting factor. So the step 1, limiting factor. Going for 4 marks. So the calculation of the limiting factor alone is what? 4 marks. That's good news. And then the utilization rate alone, together with the bottleneck resource, that's 4 marks. Then they're saying that using the current marginal costing and contribution analysis, calculate the profit margin. This one is a limiting factor. They combine two topics together. Yeah. Using the current system of marginal costing and contribution analysis, calculate the profit maximizing monthly output. Here, when I say using the contribution approach or the marginal cost system, it's basically the same step, but the item or the underlying assumption is you are going to focus on what? Contribution, not throughput. So the same step. Step 1, identify what? The limiting factor. Step 2, calculate the contribution per unit. Step 3, calculate the contribution per limiting factor. Step 4, rank them. Step 5, allocate based on the ranking. You are done. How do you get it? Great. So that is it. So it's basically the same step. Here you are going to use what? Contribution. So for those who have not gone through the margin and absorption costing, kindly go through. The videos are available for margin and absorption. You've done that one too, and then you'll be fine. So that means when I reach limiting factor, I will just scan through. Then I3. Explain why throughput accounting might provide more relevant information in the company's circumstance. Maybe the company is a manufacturing company. So why would throughput accounting ratio be more relevant? You're just asking you the importance of throughput. Tell us, which box onto the question I gave last week. That now explain how throughput accounting is what important in today's manufacturing environment. That's good. So that was the question that the examiner was giving you, the practical scenario. The company is a manufacturing company. So it might tell us why or explain why throughput accounting might provide more relevant information. That's 4 marks. Now finally, using throughput, calculate the throughput maximizing monthly output of the 3 products. You are done. How many marks? 5.
You are done. That's great. So this question is your question in advance. Can you do every aspect of it and please present it before time? If you don't understand anything, can you let me know before time? Before time. The only issue here is that there's component cost and there's other direct cost. Have you seen? The direct material, there are two. Component is part of the material cost, and then other material costs. So therefore, if you want to get a throughput, then it will be what? 91 minus the 22 and 23. So these two items are material costs. Have you seen your examiner? How smart your examiner can be? How we get it? Good. So there's component cost, which form part of material cost. So take note of that. Now, aside this question, my next question is this: the question 7 and 8. In fact, that question, if you're able to solve it, you are fine. If you sleep well. Question 7 and 8. Let's go to question 7. Question 7. Yeah, question 3. We only have 12 minutes. We only have 12 minutes, so you take it home. But I wish I can solve it. But I left a 3 question that when I solve, I'm fully done with throughput. So please, but before I solve that question, you have to go and solve it first. If you don't solve it, I won't solve it. If everybody doesn't solve it, that one I'll take everybody's solution before I solve it. Yes. Even if one person does not present the solution, we postpone it until that person brings it. If it after this answer, I'll still meet and come and solve it. Great. Now question 7 is where my interest. That's the solar system. Don't worry about the plenty of the story. Worry about the requirement. Solar core. I like the question. These are the questions that you expect. That's 9 marks. Required. Calculate the throughput accounting ratio for the large panels and small panels and explain what they indicate, the interpretation to SO about production of large and small panels. How we get? So first, calculate the throughput accounting ratio for us. What do you do second? You explain what they indicate, the meaning, the interpretation. If it's less than 1, if it's greater than 1, if it's equal to 1, what does it indicate about the product? What does it indicate? That's it. Then you go to the B. Assuming that the calculation in part A have shown the larger panels have higher throughput accounting ratio than the small panels. Required. Using throughput accounting, prepare calculation to determine the optimum production mix and the maximum profit of ESCO for the next year, another 5 months. I told you that the profit maximization or the output, 5 marks and in. Yes, so that is it. This is one of ACC past questions. And then let's see. Suggest and discuss 3 ways in which SO, that's solar coal, could try to increase its production capacity and hence increase what? Throughput in the next year without making additional investment in machinery. I like this question. Obviously, here you are restricted. You're not given a free will. Here we are saying that suggest and discuss 3 ways in which ESCO could what? Increase its production capacity and hence increase the throughput in the next year without what? Making any additional investment in without buying new machine. Don't buy a machine, but increase your capacity. Hey, how do you do that? Tell me. Don't buy a new machine. Don't buy a new machine, but increase your capacity. That means maintenance. That means no inefficiencies. Let the machine work formally because the machine was breaking down. So make sure that the machine is up to date so that it will not break down. Because you're not going to buy any new machine so that when the machine breaks down, you use the new one. No. So have you seen the clip? How you can answer the question? So the questions are not all that straightforward, even though the point that we give in the textbooks are straightforward. So take note. They are critical questions. I have 3 questions. If you're able to solve them, I'm okay. I'll give you all those 3 questions and you have them. So question 7 is 1. Question 3 is 1. So question 3 is 7. I left the last one. Then so here you go to, you'll be fine. In fact, I need a solution to them before Wednesday. Will it be possible? Can you finish it before Wednesday? It's not possible. Before Thursday. So you have tomorrow, right? So it might not be possible for you to finish before our next meeting so that I'll go through. Now question 8. I like question 8. Yeah, Ramco. I like question 8. That is another challenging area. Question 8. Ramco. It's a hairdressing salon. That one is a salon. Now, what's the requirement? Briefly explain why senior stylist time has been described as a bottleneck resource or bottleneck activity. Please support your answer with what? Relevant calculation formats. I'm missing. So determination of what? The limiting factor. This one is the other. This is the second type. This is not as straightforward as the one that we've been doing. So pay attention to this very question. That's the second way of determining the bottleneck resource. And then B, calculate what the throughput accounting ratio for CAT and the throughput accounting ratio for whom? For treatment, assuming that the bottleneck activity is fully utilized. 6 marks. So here no interpretation, just the calculation. Then you are done. So these are the 3 questions that please I require you to solve it. 3 questions that I require you to solve it. Question 9, let me see if question 9. No, question 9 is not part of your question. Question 10, don't try, is the next one. Question 9 and 10 is not part. So therefore, please and please again, this one. Last sitting, there's a question on it. I'll look for it. In fact, I've studied it. In fact, it was a class test. I don't want to mention that because I learned it came last sitting. Throughput came last sitting. I wanted to come and then give it to us like class test. Don't worry. I know how to do it. So please, my 3 questions, I need them serious. Question, in fact, there are 4. There are not 3. There are 4. There are 4 questions. 5, 4. But question 1, I've not received question 1. The 2 of you. Question 1 is 2 of you. The essay that I need full page. You buy, now that you're done with everything, you buy full A4 sheets. So I need A4 sheet. If I type into, yes, because I want to have a continuous assessment. I always say that. So my homeworks are question 1, question 3, question 7, question 8. But the critical ones are question 3, question 7, question 8. Critical ones, question 3 and 7. Please make them available. If possible, at least try and solve one before the next meeting. Try. I know that will be very difficult. When you try and we come and solve it, it's very clear like what we did right now. When you try and answer it, and then you'll be fine. Please, if you have any question, kindly ask. If not, then this is how far the good Lord will bring us. Great. If you remind me, I'm not out with my questions. Please, the questions. Aside the question 1, 3, 7, and 8, you are going to the question bank. I see a question bank. I see a word question bank. I see a question bank. Just solve all the questions under the throughput. Then I have my class test on throughput. I want to tell you where I'm bringing the question from. Yes. So go to the question bank, all the questions. If you don't have the question bank, please get it before our next meeting, and then you'll be fine. Great. You have a question here. The importance of throughput. Any idea? Importance of throughput. Yeah. To answer this question, we can use the assumptions of the throughput to answer it. Throughput assumes that inventory is what? Bad. Don't keep inventory. So throughput allow you to what? Save some unnecessary costs, such as what? Warehousing and then the other storage costs. to put your put to save it. How we get it? Good. So that's the importance. So you can come in from the other angle. So that means you are using to solve the question right now. The homework. Okay. I thought it's the homework. Okay, that's fine. In fact, so that is it. Then what again? Then what again?
Can we also say that it's an internal technique used to maximize shareholders' wealth?
Okay, internal technique used to maximize shareholders' wealth. In a way, we are looking at there are other techniques. In fact, there are. So, are you trying to probably argue or tell us that the old measure, in fact, if we don't use it, we can use what contribution. Now, when we don't maximize the shareholders' wealth, we don't maximize the shareholders' wealth unless you tell me that now here it has improved the maximization of the shareholders' wealth. So I will take it from there because if you able to reduce some of these costs, warehousing, storage of raw material, then your profit will be what increase, and hence the shareholder value also be what increase through dividend payment. And then fine. So probably I'll take it if you can argue more. I like the points. So that is it. Okay. Then the limitation, the challenges that we have with throughput, yes. Even though we have some good news, still possess some challenges or key difficulties.